Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Technical Assistant Workshop on Banking Solutions for Small Businesses. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. We're going to get started in 2 minutes while we wait for people to come on in and join us. For those that are on Facebook,
Orin, are you there?
I'm here.
I don't know what happened. The system is acting up. I can't hear him. Okay.
No, I think we might have lost the.
I don't know if it's there's something going on with the system today because I had the presentation up and then it just disappeared.
I don't think it's us right now. I think it's that the meeting itself ended.
all right. I think there was a little technical difficulties going on right there, so we'll apologize for that. But we are on, and I want to thank everyone for joining us for the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Technical Assistance Workshop in conjunction with Bank of America and Merrill Lynch Wealth Management. It's going to be a really good insight into some banking solutions for small businesses. We have two vice presidents here with us today to really share and give insight about how you as small business owners can engage with our bankers and what type of solutions can really grow and develop your business. So we are excited to be here today. We are going to get started in less than 1 minute. I will introduce our speakers. For those that are on Facebook, you can click the link to join the conversation. For those that are online here with us in the webinar, please feel free to use the chat to ask questions, to say good morning, and any of those things. There is a Q&A box if you want your questions answered during the actual presentations, and we'll also get to them towards the end. Feel free to put those in the Q&A box. Use the chat for any comments or discussion, but use the Q&A box in order to ask questions that we can answer and we can track to make sure that you are heard. This is a great opportunity to learn from those that have been in banking for many, many, many years and a specialty with working with small businesses here in South Florida. So with that, I want to welcome you again to our webinar, and I would like to introduce Denise Chinke, who is a first vice president at Merrill Lynch Wealth Management. Denise?
Thank you very much, Matthew, and a very good morning to everyone. Thank you for having us here today, and it's indeed a pleasure. My name again, as Matthew said, it's Denise Chinque. I'm with Merrill Lynch. I'm located in the Merrill Lynch, the Falls office. And I wanted to tell you first just a little bit about myself. You know, I got started in the financial industry in my early 20s. So I think I grew up in the business. And then in 1996, I became a financial advisor. My father was a business owner, and I grew up seeing my mom and dad going into work every day. They had a storefront business. And then after school, I would join them, you know, around the counter helping customers. So when I started in the business in 1996, I gravitated naturally to business owners because that's what I could relate to, family-owned businesses. And I've been able to grow my practice over time, making relationships, great relationships in the community that are very, very dear and close to me today. You know, Warren Buffett has a saying, which I keep very close to me, is that someone planted a tree long time ago that creates the shade for us today. And I think my parents did that. And I think as business owners, you know, the hard work and the determination and the vision and what you're creating, I think that statement is very relevant. And it's a pleasure for me to be here today. I've asked Darwin McCurcher, he's our banking specialist with Bank of America. And for my first presentation to the group, I thought it would be good to provide you an overview of the banking services and our capabilities that we're able to provide. Following the presentation, like Matthew says, you'll have the chance to ask questions and we'll provide answers. And should you need a follow-up or more information, you can contact me directly and I'll be sure to put you in contact with a bank specialist. I want to thank you very much again for having us here today. And I hope to hear from you. And without any further delay, I'll turn it over to Darwin McCurcher, our Bank of America business specialist. Darwin?
Hi, Denise. Good morning. Thank you. And thank you, Matthew. And thanks to all those attendees for the opportunity to be in front of you. Definitely want to make sure that this is a good session and that we are able to share insights because at the end of the day, Bank of America's mission is to make sure that we're active in the community, not only in terms of being the bank that is around and also contributing to other focus, but also educating our business owners as to Bank of America solutions and and products so that we can make them available to you. So I'm going to follow the same thing that Denise did. Just going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Darwin McCurcher. I am a vice president in the business banking division of Bank of America, and I will get into what that means in just a second. I have been with Bank of America. I'm proud to say that as I usually say, I bleed red and blue because I have been with Bank of America for 31 years. So the reason that I am still with this bank after 31 years is because I believe in it. And the message that I try to convey to those that are listening to me is that if I believe in Bank of America, I want to make sure that those that are hearing me believe in Bank of America. I've been not only in Miami, I used to live in Tampa for many years, and I joined this wonderful team that I'm a part of 6 years ago. But I was doing the same thing that I'm doing right now. In fact, for a good amount of years, I served even in the smaller business banking channel. And I'm gonna describe what those are so that there's clear understanding as to the different segments within the bank to provide to our community. So Matthew, if we can turn over to slide number 3. Next. There you go. All right. So here's just a little bio about myself. As you can see on the left-hand side, it just tells you a little bit about me and my family, because the focus here is not only to get to know the banker, but the primary focus is to get to know what the bank has to offer. So to the left-hand side of this presentation on this slide, you're going to see the client profile that we target. Please understand that this presentation that I am putting in front of you is a general presentation that I use with those companies that I'm trying to attract in business banking. As I said a minute ago, we have a couple different channels, and this is a good opportunity to describe, just to kind of make sure that we have a clear understanding. We basically start in small business at Bank of America with those businesses that are either at startup or those that have already started but are growing. So a business that is within $0, okay, or $10,000, which is really a startup business, okay, up to $5 million in gross annual sales, that's what we consider a small business within our small business banking division, okay? Then our next segment is the one that I'm in, which is business banking, which is for a little bit more mature businesses, I should say, that are between 5 million in gross annual sales to $75 million in gross annual sales. Of course, after that, we have a couple more segments, and the next one from us is middle market commercial banking, which is from 75 million up to $2 billion in annual sales and gross annual sales. But to kind of come back to the small business, the reason that I can speak on behalf of those businesses that are within either startup or that are graduating to get to the $5 million is because not long ago, 6 years ago, I was part of that division. Okay. And I know that Bank of America is very committed to that segment of the community. So I don't want to get very hung up on the presentation saying, the company size that we go after is 5 million to 75, because that's what I go after in my division. But I know that I am speaking to a population here that may be below. And I want to make sure that the Bank of America represents that population very well. Okay. So what are some of the solutions that are provided by Bank of America? If you look to the right side of this slide, we're going to talk about the different financial solutions. Access to capital. Access to capital is revolving lines of credits, term loans, and those term loans could either be basically the difference between a line of credit and a term loan is the line of credit is going to be a variable rate line of credit that you usually get for 1 year, and it gets automatically renewed once the bank reviews it every year. And the rate is usually based on prime. So it's prime plus the spread. The difference between that and a term loan has a fixed rate and has a fixed maturity. So for example, you use a line of credit for carrying your receivables. Let's just say that you're giving terms to your clients and you're giving them 30 to 45 days to pay you back. Okay. In the meantime, you do have to meet your payables. So the line of credit serves the purpose of allowing you working capital so that you can continue to operate your business while you collect your receivables and pay on your payables. Okay. The purpose of a term loan could be many different things. A term loan could be if you're buying inventory and it's going to take you a good amount of inventory, a good amount of time to dispose of that inventory. Or let's say you're buying a piece of equipment. That is something that you would finance as a term loan, because any type of a fixed asset, you're going to want to make sure that you fix that rate and that you have X number of years to pay that back. Usually our term loans go from 3 to 5 years. There's a couple other solutions here that like the asset-based lending, I'm not really going to get much into because it's more for larger companies that have a lot of large receivables. But Bank of America is also active in SBA loans. So there's a couple of loans that we participate in. One is called the 504. And 504 is usually, for the most part, used for acquisition of a building. And I believe that there's also a component for some equipment in there, but primarily is for the acquisition of a building. The beauty of the SBA 504 program is that instead of having to come up with a 20% down payment as in a conventional, where you come up with 20% and the bank finances 80%, the SBA 504 program allows you to come in with just 10% and finance 90%. And then owner-occupied commercial real estate, that's what I was referring to about a conventional. Say you're buying a building or an office space for your business. Bank of America offers 80% financing with a 20% down. The other solutions are treasury management solutions, which those are to help with the collection of receivables and with the payments of payables, and also for fraud prevention. As we know, fraud is one of those things that Miami, the South Florida, is not foreign to, and fraud can come in different ways. It can come in the form of a check. It can come in the form of an ACH, and Bank of America provides preventive fraud solutions. Equipment financing and leasing. We are the largest equipment finance company in the world, okay, and we do a very good job of funding 100%. So if you're buying a piece of equipment and you're looking to finance that piece of equipment, we may be able to give you anywhere from 3 to 7 years, depending on the life of the equipment and the amount. And not only can we finance 100% of the equipment, but we can also finance an additional, I want to say is between 15 and 20% of soft cost, which could be for shipping, delivery, and assembly of that equipment. On the right side of that, we're talking about merchant services. Merchant services is where when all of us use our credit cards and we go to a point of sale and we either swipe or we chip our card, we insert the chip card. That's what merchant services is. So those companies that you are paying with credit cards, when they're receiving your payment, they are using merchant services. Risk management. This is a little bit more, not going to call it complex, but for more advanced businesses where you can do hedging. Say, for example, that you are purchasing goods and you're importing, and there's a price fluctuation. So whenever you want to get that fluctuation out of the way and just don't take that risk, the hedging takes care of the risk. However, in order to do hedging, we have to have financial information in order to assess the financial stability of the company. Import-export letters of credits, as well as standby letters of credit. Standby letters of credits are very common in the sense that it's also known as a performance letter of credit. Whenever you are providing a service, you may be asked to provide a guarantee. And those letters of credits are provided by the bank. They are completely secured. So if you are looking to establish a letter of credit, know that if you're looking for a letter of credit for, let's say, $50,000, it'll have to be 100% secured, with cash. So we would basically hold on to $50,000 and issue that letter of credit that the beneficiary is requesting. And foreign exchange as well, Bank of America having its global presence, we have the ability to allow you to send payments and receive payments in foreign currency. Last but not least, card. Okay, we have very many different types of cards that are utilized for either purchasing or any type of expense that is related. In fact, we encourage card usage more than anything else, because the benefit of card is that you're not using checks, you're not using paper as much or at all. And with our notifications, alerts that we are now able to receive, we're able to detect fraud immediately. So it takes that fraud out of the way. All right, so Matthew, can we skip next slide? Because I already pretty much covered it with the first one. So let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about Bank of America and who we are. Okay, so in this segment, we cover 10,000, we have 10,000 total client-facing associates. So think about that. All the amount of associates that are covering our clients in the different segments. As far as the strength and the leadership that Bank of America provides, we've received recognition for being North America's best bank for small to medium-sized enterprises, and for most innovative investment bank of the year and best bank for global payments, among others, as you can see on the presentation. And why is it important for us to present to you not only our capabilities, but our footprint? We know Miami is the gateway to the Americas and to the Caribbean. So we know there's a lot of import and export business here in Miami. So it's important for you to know that there is representation. Moving on to next slide. And actually, let's go to number 7, because this is more recognition in the marketplace, which I covered. Okay. So here's our commitment to you. Bank of America in Miami, 74 financial centers, also known as branches, 307 ATMs, 5 Merrill offices, and 1 private bank office. We are part of approximately 200,000 employees that are what forms Bank of America. What are some of the things that Bank of America does in the community? Well, you can see on here that Bank of America has committed since 2013 and 16, $13 million. And those $13 million to the local community are going towards advancing racial equality and economic opportunities. Also, we do charity work, and our employees, we volunteer hours locally, roughly about 54,000 hours. Moving on. All right, this slide right here, I'm gonna cover it very high level, because these treasury solutions, as you can see on here, it talks about Cash Pro. Cash Pro is the platform that we use in business banking. So for those clients that are greater than $5 million, if they are banking with a relationship manager like myself, they would be using Cash Pro. If you are at the entry level of a business, whether you're starting or you're navigating to get to that $5 million mark, the platform that we use within the bank is called BA360. BA stands for Business Advantage 360. Has been recently rebranded. For a very long time, it was called Online Banking or Small Business Online Banking, but they do similar. Obviously, the needs of a smaller business are not going to be as complex as those of a larger business. So that's why there's two different platforms. But at the end of the day, they provide the solutions for the need of each segment. Moving on to the next page. All right, and so this is Bank of America Merchant Services. I was alluding earlier. Bank of America provides credit card processing for those businesses that need to collect via credit card. So you ask yourself, why should I work with Bank of America? Well, I'm not going to touch on everything here, but I want to bring your attention to the fourth item on the very left-hand column. When we're talking about admire companies, 8 of them in the Fortune 500 in 2018 were processing with Bank of America. And under the global capabilities, which is the third row at the top, 130 currencies are supported. The beauty of Bank of America Merchant Services is that anything that you process today, up until like 2 o'clock in the morning, you receive your next day funding. So if you accept a credit card today, that money will be in your account first thing in the morning tomorrow. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. All right, moving on to the next slide. And this is where I'm going to hone in a little bit more. Credit solutions, I already talked a little bit about it earlier. So what falls under credit? Revolving lines of credits, expansion and acquisitions, and the purchase of long-term assets. As I indicated earlier, a long-term asset could be a piece of equipment, okay? Something that you can hang on for a good amount of time. Asset-based lending. In some cases, if a business is growing too quickly, and we are what's called a cash flow lender. And what we're going to do is we're going to look, when we're lending, we're going to be looking at your financial statements. It could be either your business tax returns along with your personal tax returns for those owners of the business, or we may just ask for profit and loss and balance sheet. And those profit and loss and balance sheets, they would be exported from your accounting software. A lot of businesses, the most common they use is QuickBooks, okay? So in some cases, when the business is growing too quickly, or the financial information provided does not support a conventional line of credit, it may be that the business needs an asset-based, which there's a little bit more risk and it's a little bit more pricey, but it's an alternative solution, to a line of credit, because it works similarly. It's still a line of credit, but there's more monitoring involved. And usually these are for larger deals, because since it is very intense in monitoring, it's not something that it's done for very small credit facilities. As I mentioned earlier, SBA lending. I forgot to mention earlier, I talked about the 504, which is the one that you would use mostly for financing a piece of real estate where you come in with 10% down and then the other 90% is the 90% is financed. I forgot to mention also the 7A. The 7A program is one that is used a lot for business acquisition. So let's say that you have been established working for a business, and you've been working for them for a good amount of time, and you have the experience of running that business along with the owner or ownership. You may be interested in acquiring that business, okay? Or let's say that you work for a franchise and you are being offered the opportunity to become, to buy one of the franchises. You would be able to come to Bank of America. There's certain companies that we work with. The one that comes to mind right now, I believe, so I think McDonald's is one of them, and it's not the only one, but I'm just giving that as an example. So let's say that you're given an opportunity to buy a McDonald's, okay, and started. If you've had experience in that area, and you qualify, the 7A may be an option. So that's one other small. SBA stands for Small Business Administration, by the way. Conventional lending, we already talked about that. It could be a building, it could be a piece of equipment. When I say conventional, means the bank on its own without the participation of the Small Business Administration. And trade finance solutions, like I said, letters of credits, import letters of credits, export letters of credits, which is when there's goods involved, okay? And then the performance letters of credits, also known as standby letters of credits. Those are more for performance, for bonds of purposes. Okay, so what's required for business lending? So the banks look for performance of the business for at least 2 years. So oftentimes it's thought that banks do not support businesses and the startup businesses, I should say. And the reality is that we do. Unfortunately, because the business is starting and there's really no record of the financials, the bank is not going to be able to lend on letters of credits and any type of large loans, okay? So let's just focus for a minute. Let's say your business has been around for 2 years and your business has been performing, has been growing on sales, and it's profitable, okay? Once you've had 2 years of sales and profit, we're able to look at those financials and lend against the financials of that company. But let's say that you're starting, okay? What's available to those businesses that are starting? The personal credit of the individual is very important, because if you have good credit, when you approach a financial institution such as Bank of America, you may be able to get a credit card solution that can get you started and start building credit. So we look at both the personal and the business. It's very important for once you're starting a business, or even if it's already established, to have very good conversations with your CPA. And the importance of that is, some people think of a CPA as more of a tax preparation, but the reality is that if you want banks to be your financial partner, you have to prepare yourself. And the best two individuals that can help you with that are the CPA and your banker. So it's important to form a relationship with a banker at Bank of America that can be an advisor to you, along with your CPA, to have good meetings and ensure that your company is prepared to take on the next opportunity. The other thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly on lending, and this is our niche, and it's a specialty basically, is government contracts. So Bank of America is considered the #1 lender for government contractor, including $3 billion to small, and middle market government contractors nationally. We bank 82% of the top 100 contractors and 75% of the top 200. We are the only financial institution that has government contracting expertise coast to coast. This is for federal contracts. So a federal contractor is defined as one that majority of the projects come from federal work. So if there's any questions when it comes to that, we do have specialty. We have someone that I can reach out to. But know that if your business is growing and you've recently secured any type of a government contract from the federal government, there is an opportunity for a conversation. Okay. So now let's talk really quick about opening bank accounts. Okay. When it comes to opening bank accounts, if it's for a business that is either starting or that is in the growing phases, we have a couple different channels. And depending on your need, you would contact us and we will determine what would be the best person to speak with. But it can be done a couple different ways. Okay. So if you are starting a business, most likely it's going to be one of our financial centers that will assist you with the opening of that account. We do have business specialists inside of our financial centers that would be able to assist you with opening of the account. What is it that you usually need in order to be successful with your appointment? You need to make sure that when you come to a financial center to open an account, that you have a document that is provided by the IRS, which is called the SS4. What is the SS4? The SS4 basically shows that the IRS has assigned that entity a tax ID. That is required because we have to collect that in order to make sure that when the account is opened, that any reporting to the IRS is accurate. So we require an SS4, and also it's important that you've registered your business with the state of Florida. Doesn't have to be registered in the state of Florida, but since we're talking to South Florida folks, just want to make sure that if you're registering your business with the state of Florida, that it's already registered on SunBiz, and that we can access that information before opening the account. As far as signers, all signers must be present. So if you need to open a bank account for a newly formed business, just make sure you have your SS4. The business has been registered with SunBiz, the state of Florida, and that all signers are present at one time. Appointments can be scheduled so that you do not have to wait inside the financial center for a long period of time. Unfortunately, due to COVID, as we know, we've had to close some financial centers at a moment's time because a case has been reported. And in order to stop the spread, obviously that center gets closed, I believe, for about 2 weeks. So there's been some centers that have been closed here and there. And the best way to know, to the minute information, which financial center is available and open, you can go to www.bankofamerica.com, and there you will be able to find a location, and it'll tell you if that location is currently open, and it'll tell you the hours of that center. Our centers are usually open Monday through Thursday from 9 to 4, and I believe on Friday it's 9 to 5, and on Saturday some financial centers are open, a good number of them, from 9 to 1. Depending on the need of the business, other accounts may be opened by a business banker coming to you. For example, the clients that I assist, I visit clients in person. My job consists of visiting my clients and those that I'm trying to make clients of the bank, visiting them in person. We do have small business bankers in that segment under 5 million that also visit clients. Obviously, with COVID, it's been challenging visiting the bank, to protect us and to protect our clients. We were not visiting, but right now, Bank of America is already allowing us. We are back to visiting our clients and our prospects. So pretty much, I know that I dumped a lot of information, and I hope that it's been helpful. I am open to any questions that you may have.
All right. Thank you, Darwin, for very insightful information about Bank of America, how it works, and different banking solutions you have, and details about the banks. Really appreciate that. We do have a small business owner on the line. We know her, she's a member of the chamber, runs a hair business, does cosmetics and massage and wigs and all those things. And she has a question about starting. How do you start or build your line of credit when you're a startup or even as an existing business? What are those best things, tools, and equipments to purchase?
Okay, can you repeat the question? I know that she's talking about a line of credit. Can you repeat the gist of the question? I'm sorry, I didn't understand it.
Yes, it's how do you start? What would you say are some of the best practices to building your line of credit as a startup business?
Okay, so building a line of credit, as I was alluding to a little earlier, you're gonna want to make sure that you are having solid financial statements that are going to get you there. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, Bank of America is a cash flow lender, and I will explain in very layman's term what cash flow means. Cash flow does not mean money in the account. Cash flow means the bank is going to look at your financial statements, whether it's either a profit and loss and a balance sheet or your tax returns. And we are going to look at a few things. We're going to look at the sales. Obviously, we are going to look to make sure that the sales trends is going in the right direction, obviously. And we're going to make sure that it's profitable. So after all expenses have been paid, the very bottom line of that business, if it's a positive number, that along with, and this is for the small business community, along with the personal, is going to be what we're going to be looking at. It's important, okay, that we show that business to be profitable. And yes, when we make the business profitable, it means that we do pay taxes to Uncle Sam. But if the business is not showing profitability, the bank is not able to lend, because that's what it means by cash flow. There has to be enough profitability in the business, or there needs to be profitability, because that's the number the bank is going to use when we are calculating the ability to repay the money back. So one important thing is to make sure that's why I said earlier, make sure you're having good conversations with the CPAs, that the CPA is helping you take whatever deductions are available to you, but that at the same time that those deductions are not putting you also in a situation where you're not going to have a bottom line. Okay, you're not going to have a positive bottom line, and it's going to preclude you from obtaining financing from the bank. The way to look at this is the bank is going to be your partner. So it's going to be a partnership, like a marriage, basically. Your part is going to be making sure that the business is producing and that it's profitable. And then the bank is going to come in and be your partner when you've demonstrated the ability to take on additional debt. On the personal side, the same thing. If you are, for example, an LLC or an S corporation, the bottom line of your business is going to carry over to your personal tax return when you're doing your taxes. And I'm not giving you tax advice, because I don't have the licenses to do that, but I'm only telling you from a practicality perspective. When those two numbers are combined, the bottom line of the business and any distributions that you take along with your personal income, that's what the bank is going to be looking at to determine the ability to take on additional debt. And it's not only going to take into consideration the income, it's also going to take into consideration the business debt as well as the personal debt, mortgages, credit cards, personal loans, car loans that are on your credit bureau. I know that I gave you a long answer, but I don't know if that answers your question or if there is an additional comment to that.
Thank you very much, Darwin, for going into those details. We provide one-on-one technical assistance to small business owners in that particular area where we're talking about helping them put together their financial statements with a focus on their cash flow, and making sure that their business income and statements are properly documented, and knowing that they're going to be judged not on just their financial statements and their profit margin, cash flow, but also on their personal finances, because they want to see that if the business can pay, and also that the person can also pay the loan. So thank you for sharing that and breaking that down. Another question, follow-up question, is a little more technical. Sometimes there are sole proprietors who've been operating and then start to incorporate their business and go into a S corp. If that switch happens, does the bank take into consideration the sole proprietor information and the S corp, or do they start off with a clean slate when they start with the S corp?
Yeah, that's kind of a tricky question. Okay, I've seen it both ways. Okay, if it makes sense and it's just a conversion from one to the other, is something that should be considered, but of course, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis.
Awesome. And we have another one, Monte Brown, asking about what's the best options for startup with profits under 5,000? What banking solutions are available if they are just starting up and they're not making much funds? What are some banking solutions that can help them to grow their business?
Okay, so very good question. So if we're talking in terms of credit, when you're starting, pretty much the availability from a conventional standpoint, and again, conventional meaning the bank on its own, it's going to be a credit card. Okay, so that's why it's so important for the business owner himself or herself to take very good care of their credit, okay, and be very mindful as to their spending, because since the business really doesn't have a history yet, we're going to be looking to the personal. So if the individual that is interested in this has an immediate need and wishes to speak with one of our small business bankers, be more than happy to put them in contact. But at the end of the day, the lending solution is going to be a credit card, okay, that can help them build credit. And I would say, once you get that credit card, try to use it in a way where, if you're able to, you borrow and you pay off every month, because it starts showing the ability of that business. And after 6 months of it being open, Bank of America will consider that card for an increase. If you don't have the ability to pay it off every month because it's replacing what a line of credit would do for you, try to revolve it as much as possible. Try to use it as a line of credit. But bear in mind that credit cards do carry interest, and that interest rate is usually not in the single digits. It could be north of 10% sometimes, depending on the credit. So rather than using the credit card to really carry balances, use it more as a tool in replacement of a line of credit until you're able to get a line of credit. Now, that's on the financing side. Okay. On the non-financing side, okay, our tools that are available to business owners, to small business owners, will allow them to be able to make payments and collect, which is more like the treasury platform. And those are tools that can be used to expedite collection. One of them is also the merchant services that I was alluding to. Okay. It's true that there's going to be a little bit of a cost associated with accepting credit cards, but the time in which you're going to collect is going to be much faster, and that is going to allow you to increase your cash flow versus having to wait for a check to arrive.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer. All right. I think those are the questions that we have currently, and we are getting close to our time. So I wanted to bring back Denise, if she has any words or any other information she wants to share. Darwin, that was an amazing presentation, really good information, practical information for business owners. So And one last question I would like to ask is about growing that relationship with Bank of America. What have you seen have been some best practices of a businesses literally growing with Bank of America? Starting off, like you said, with maybe using the credit card and then going up. What do they do to ensure they continue to grow and that Bank of America continues to be a partner with them throughout their journey of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, and you know what? That's one of the key items. You want to make sure that when you form that relationship with the financial institution, that you have ongoing communication. Not only what a need arises. Okay, we are paid to advise our client. We are paid to know your industry. We are paid to discuss with you. For example, I'll give you a very good example. Okay, right now, two big items that are happening, okay, that are impacting almost every business is supply chain. Okay, we know that supply chain is a huge issue across the world. Okay, we're having conversations with our client. How is it impacting you? Okay, and how can we help you navigate that? Okay. The other thing is retaining talent. Okay. So we know a lot of companies are having a difficult time attracting and retaining talent. Okay. So Bank of America has some wonderful educational information for our clients to help them. And this would be more on Denise's side, when it comes to the personal. But to answer your question, just make sure that you have a vested interest in having the bank help you and have conversations. The two best. I'm sorry, the light went out in my office. Let me move so it can come back on. If you don't move, it stops. It goes away. It thinks I'm not in the office. So the two individuals that you want to have ongoing conversation is your CPA and your banker. Your CPA conversation should not be a once a year conversation. It should not be a twice a year conversation. It should be an ongoing conversation. And make sure that your CPA shares your vision. Make sure that your CPA is not one that is a tax preparation that is just there to prepare taxes, because all they're going to be looking is for deductions. They are not going to be partnering up with you to prepare your company to be a lendable company in the future. Make sure you do your research when you're hiring a CPA. If you need references, we can give you 2-3 names of companies that you can interview with, and make sure that when you're meeting with them, you say, listen, what I'm looking for is I want to grow the business, and these are my projections. I want to make sure that I take my deductions, but I want to make sure that you help me be lendable. And then share that vision with your banker. Make sure that you have conversations and hold your banker accountable to make sure that those conversations are being had.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was great. You're right on, Darwin. Right on point. And I have one of our technical assistant clients on. That's exact conversation we had. Is all right. You need an accountant, but not just someone that just does your taxes. It's gonna help you go through those financial statements, help you understand them, and help you grow as a company. That was on point. Denise?
That's excellent. Darwin, thank you so much. You're just a wonderful and amazing resource to Bank of America and to Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch has been around since 1914. It's wealth management, the best wealth management. Then you put that on with Bank of America, with their banking, their history, their reputation. We have a wonderful firm, and I think we can service and take care of just about any needs. I am committed to be a partner to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. whether it's through the banking services or through any other services. I think with Merrill Lynch, you have the opportunity to have access to real estate lending, insurance, retirement planning. I'm very, very passionate about retirement planning, especially for the small business owner, to educate them, to help them plan and prepare well for retirement. Sometimes you're working day to day in your business, you're just trying to make ends meet. But I think if we can set some aside for retirement, I'm fully committed to that, to helping the members develop a better understanding of that. Merrill Lynch offers services from the investment to help them through the education, teaching them in terms of how to grow their wealth. So Matthew, I thank you so much. And it's just, I would love for you to use us as a resource and love to be back here to provide the group with a lot more information. And I'm gonna quote something else. I'm like big on quotes, but Ben Franklin said this: an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So as long as you keep informed, ask questions, I am here to help. Send me the calls, send me the emails. I'll be more than happy to provide the information, put you in touch with wonderful and amazing resources like Darwin here on the banking side. And I look forward to doing this again with the group. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you, Matthew.
And if I may add to that, Denise, I know that I alluded to in at the beginning of the dialogue as to the different segments that we have. Please do not think for a second, or do not doubt. Do not think, well, Darwin may not be the person to help me with this. Use me as an ambassador. I may not be the person to work with you directly based on the size of your company. I may be, who knows? But we want to make sure that we help you get there on this journey and stay on that same journey, because you'll be able to graduate to where, maybe you could be one of my clients in the future, right? That being said, if you need a contact of someone, if you have a question, reach out to Matthew. Matthew, reach out to me, or you can contact me directly. If I'm not the person to assist, I would be more than happy to reach out to one of my partners, and we will get you in contact with someone.
For sure, we'll have the helping hand to get you going, be able to help you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Darwin, for joining us today. Really giving such insightful, practical information to our business owners. This is going to be one of our webinars when we treasured on our website. I'm going to be using as I continue to do technical assistance to our business owners. For those that are watching, we do provide one-on-one technical assistance to business owners. You can go to our website, www.m-dcc.org, and literally take some time to have a set an appointment right then and there. So we are here, we're available. This is one of many workshops that we give throughout the year on various topics, from cybersecurity to upgrading your online business, to accessing capital, to securing government contracts. So our technical assistants are free and open to the public. You can set a one-on-one meeting with me. Membership is not required for that. We are here for the business community here in Miami-Dade County. We do have a number of events that are very good for you to get engaged in. This is the wrong one. All right. For you to get engaged in, I'm going to go to our website so that you can see. And one of the most amazing opportunities, I will strongly encourage you to visit our website, but join our small business meetup every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We have between 20 to 40 business owners, a wide ranging from startups to those been in business for over 25 years, from small businesses that are literally just starting to those revenues over $1 million, and they're there speaking on different topics, engaging each other. So join us and be a part of the Small Business Meetup. It's free and open to the public. I also want you to take in consideration our last event of the year, which is our holiday gala, one of the largest galas in South Florida. And it's going to be at Miami Dolphins. This year is going to be a lot more restricted due to considerations with COVID, but you can learn more. It's going to be Saturday, December 4th at 6 p.m. And so join us, continue to be a part of the chamber. We're here as a resource to you. We have a lot of resources and information for small business owners, for entrepreneurs, for people that are growing their business. So make sure you check us out, and make sure you follow up with Bank of America, because they've been an excellent partner with the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce for a number of years. And we're so happy to have them continuously being here, participating, and also providing free knowledge and information to you. So we look forward to continue that relationship, continue to take advantage of what we have. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you very much again, Denise and Darwin. And on behalf of our president, Eric Knowles, and chairman of the board, Jeff Lozama, we appreciate you for being a small business owner here in this community and growing our economy. You are the backs that the whole American government and all of us stand upon. So thank you for creating jobs, building your business, and shining. We really appreciate it. Everyone take care. Bye.
Thank you.